Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is a video for the pulling strategy for both Elation characters based on their current design in the 4.2 V1 beta, which are Silverwolf level 999 and Evanescia. This won't be a detailed review of these units, that will come in a dedicated video later, because for now, both Sparksy and Yao Guang's banners are going to expire very soon, so it's basically your last chance to get the full premium team now on release. So I thought this would be more helpful to push out now first, more than a full review. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. First of all, let's make things clear. You can still skip Sparksy and Yao Guang right now. Even though I 100% believe this was deliberate as an attempt to get last-minute sales for both Yao Guang and Sparksy, there is still a good chance that Elation will rerun quite soon. Maybe even directly after the patch on 4.3. So if you're not sure on pulling Silverwolf or Evanescia, or you just want to wait for the V5 first, which is their final versions, that's fine. I actually think it's smart to not full team just yet and invest into eidolons based on V1. But for one of these characters specifically, it does look like they suffer a massive loss that might make them feel awful on release, that not investing at all isn't a good idea. We'll go more into that later. Just know that if you want to wait for V5 first, that's actually smart. I don't think they'll rerun the 4.0 Elation characters too far apart, but if you want these characters to be strong on release, this is a guide based on version 1 info that is subject to change. Alright? Anyway, let's get on with the main push. Silverwolf SP. Silverwolf SP is a unit that is pretty straightforward. She doesn't use conventional energy. Instead, she uses a special energy that can only be gained through using her Elation skill. She needs 80 special energy, and by itself her Elation skill gives 20. But because of her traces, if your Elation skill dealt punchline damage equal to more than 20, you get 20 more special energy. And if you have 40 energy or more, you gain 40. When she uses her ult, she has a state that gains a really strong enhanced basic attack that deals a lot of Elation damage, and when a different party member uses skill points, she gains one of her random buffs that are pretty weak on their own. But let's say, right, like hypothetically, this unit doesn't exist, surely. Say if you have a Elation unit that, I don't know, like uses 20 skill points in one turn, then yeah, this effect is pretty nut. Her multipliers outside of Elation damage are complete garbage as a main DPS, and her main utility outside of damage is being an FU button for enemy crowd control effects as a global passive for sustainless run. Her eidolons are incredibly messed up design-wise, E2 being a complete cheat code for any weakness matchups, especially in Apocalyptic Shadow. And also with her E2, she starts becoming like Cypher and records everyone's Elation damage to consume it all with her enhanced basic attack, which is funny. E4 and E6 are also just pretty absurd. So for Silverwolf SP, her main team building restrictions are: first, she wants AHA instants that have decent punchline to gain energy. Number 2, she mostly has Elation damage and normal crit buff suck on her. And 3, she wants SP burners to take advantage of her random buff. Obviously, all roads lead to Sparksy and Yao Guang, with EMC being pretty far behind both of those. Sparksy deals with all 3 conditions, and Yao Guang deals with the first and second. The last condition really isn't that important, that losing Sparksy won't be as bad to make Silverwolf the main carry, but because Sparksy does deal a lot of damage on her own, and the next best choice is EMC, who is a bit too weak at the moment, you are gonna feel a huge difference if you just have Yao but no Sparksy in the Silverwolf team. Silverwolf is very reliant on these 2 Elation units, since there's very few alternatives of a punchline generator and an AHA instant enabled. So the first priority for Silverwolf investment wise is to just get her teammates first, then go for eidolons or signature. Alternatively, you can also make Silverwolf E2 instead of pulling for a team and her signature, because Silverwolf's E2 is pretty disgusting, that I can see it working with EMC even though EMC is pretty weak. Silverwolf E2 should be good enough to live off of just EMC until you get the full party. After Silverwolf, the next best thing is Yao's E1 or Sparksy's E1. Both are equally viable, but if you're focusing on Silverwolf, Yao's E1 makes Silverwolf shine harder, while for Sparksy, it's more so for Sparksy's personal damage. Then after that, you might as well E6 Silverwolf, then go for any more Eidolons on the other characters, to be honest. The weird part about the investment on Silverwolf is that to get like optimal cost chesting, getting Sparksy's E2 even without Silverwolf E2 is looking like the best investment, and it's looking like one of the best teams in the game. But if you're trying to focus on Silverwolf as the main DPS, Sparksy's E2 is a huge boost because it ups her personal damage so high instead of Silverwolf that you might not want that. So it depends on who you want to be the spotlight, where you want to invest your E2 on. She's very reminiscent of Finon, to be honest. Silverwolf's bare minimum E0 at 0 core is good enough, and you just focus on Silverwolf's investment completely after that if you want Silverwolf to be the spotlight of your account. But you can also go Sparksy Eidolons and it would end up pretty similar, with Sparksy being a bit better. And yeah, that's it. Overall, it seems like Silverwolf's design is so strong already, and it feels so set in stone that I don't think the basics are going to change, and you will want to pull Sparksy and Yao Guang on the live serve. If it doesn't, that means Silverwolf had such a fundamental shift in her damage profile and energy mechanic that she would not be the same character anymore, and she might actually run crit just normally, which I highly doubt. But anyway, next character. The next character is Evanescia. Evanescia is a unit that I was self-admittedly pretty pessimistic about. Not because she's Elation, like I expected this, but because Evanescia's numbers seem really suspicious. If you put her in a full Elation team, you might feel like your Sparksy is doing more damage than her, which, yeah, she actually is. If you put Evanescia in a full crit team, she doesn't make use of all of their buffs and it seems pretty mid. But after a couple of showcases, this entire expectation of Evanescia running a full dedicated archetype of just either full crit and energy or full Elation is actually a flawed way of thinking of her team building, and you'll see why when we talk more about her kit. Evanescia is an energy scaler that is also a natural punchline scale. She has a higher max energy than Saber, does most of her damage on ult, and she can split her ult into 2 charges like Yun Li. Evanescia's talent allows her to one-way convert energy into punchline, and one-way convert punchline energy. Evanescia deals elation damage on any button that she does, and her elation skill is really weak. The unique part about Evanescia is that Evanescia's normal crit damage and her elation damage are pretty mid by themselves. But Evanescia's crit and elation are split almost equal to each other, and she combines both of them in her attacks while two-way recycling non-energy mechanics into elation damage, which in a more simple way, it means that if you have a team that includes, let's say, Sunday, who regenerates a lot of energy and boosts normal crit damage, Evanescia will still get punchline due to the energy and boost the elation split of her damage, and her normal crit part of her damage becomes stronger due to the damage boost that doesn't apply to elation. Say you use Yao Guang instead of Sunday. Yao Guang gives Evanescia punchline, which gets turned to energy to make her ult pass, and Yao Guang will not boost Evanescia's physical crit damage, but she will boost the elation part of Evanescia's damage. And while you would naturally think Elation MC would be better for an Elation character, Elation MC only buffs the elation part and does little for the normal crit part. EMC doesn't even have that many energy mechanics. Meanwhile, RMC boosts Evanescia's crit damage for both splits, added energy with action advance for the punchline conversion, and true damage, which buffs both sides of Evanescia's damage. In truth, instead of a clunky split scaler that's not good at either, Evanescia is actually a dual scaler. Eva is the antithesis of the Elation design as a unit that isn't locked to Elation characters boosting her, but instead she's a DPS that converts normal energy mechanics into Elation mechanics for more flexibility. It's so interesting and cool that I actually cannot believe Evanescia will survive. Like this is a unit that has a very unique team building style that actively goes against what Monopath stands for. So what are Evanescia's team building requirements as a unit? The first requirement is a way to boost her energy. The second requirement is a way to boost her punchline. And the third is a buffer that emphasizes both. Because of the nature of Evanescia's scaling and being strong enough to handle it, Evanescia prefers a team where one half Elation and the other half takes care of the energy and the crit part. For a full min-maxed team, Evanescia doesn't go fully into one damage type. You want to boost both sides of her damage for the best performance, like let's say Remembrance MC. Meanwhile, she has the option of being flexible enough to go fully into either side if stage mechanics require it, which is very strong. So yeah, because of this team flexibility, her investment is also fairly unique. She actually does not prefer Sparksy or Silverwolf in her team at all. Pure punchline generation works, but to get the most out of Eva, she wants a team that evenly cares about normal crit, energy, and punchline. So her best in slot right now is Yao Guang. Because RMC is actually so much better for Evanescia than Elation MC due to buffing all parts of her damage, Yao Guang is a huge boost because without one Elation character, the Elation part of Eva's damage becomes weaker. Yao Guang's punchline generation turns into energy, and the added SP generation helps out Huohuo, who is Eva's best sustain. Therefore, if you want to main Evanescia, pulling Yao Guang is going to be a pretty big deal. Then you can invest into Evanescia's Eidolon. If you want to main Evanescia, going E1 S1 should be your goal over trying to upgrade Yao Guang. If you don't want to go full E6 on Eva, then you can go for more Yao investment, but I would only say up to E1 S1. And after that, you might as well go for E6 Eva. So yeah, that's it for Evanescia's investment. Again, the Elation part of Evanescia is only part of her damage, and you very likely have options like Sparkle, who got a Nova Flare, that buffs her crit side, and Sunday, who buffs energy and crit. If you're clearing endgame right now, it's actually very likely that you already have some pieces for Evanescia, and at that point you only want to pull Yao Guang, who's not that required for now for Eva to perform well. This is such a flexible and fun team building style that reminds me of Release Anaxa, and because of that I am not optimistic for this to survive the beta, by the way. So I'm not going to fully advocate skipping Yao Guang, and I think you won't regret pulling Yao right now just in case. Because the worst thing that could really happen for Evanescia is for her to be fully Elation scale, in which case you're pulling Yao Guang anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I tried to push this video as early as possible because I didn't realize the banners were ending this early. Here's the full chart. Again, I'm pretty sure Yao and Sparksy will rerun in 4.3 or 4.4. So if you want to wait for V5 for the final changes, that's fine. These characters should be good enough to survive till they need their support. But yeah, hope this was helpful. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.